Ever been in a car when the driver suddenly steps on the gas? You feel that immediate push, firmly pressing you into your seat. But notice something interesting. If you're cruising down the highway at a steady 60 miles an hour, you don't feel that push at all. You can sip a cup of coffee without spilling it. That feeling of being pressed into your seat comes from the change in how fast you're going. In physics, we have a specific word for that change: acceleration. It is a measure of how quickly your speed or your velocity changes over a certain amount of time. We can write this as an equation: A for acceleration equals delta V divided by delta T. That little triangle is the Greek letter delta, which in science is just a shorthand way of writing change in. So this equation says acceleration equals your change in velocity divided by the time it took to make that change. While speed tells us how fast we are going right now, acceleration tells us exactly how fast we are getting faster. Let's see what this looks like on paper. This is a speed time graph showing a sports car's movement on a test track. Time is measured in seconds along the bottom axis, and speed is measured in meters per second up the side. The driver floors it, doing a sprint from 0 to 40 meters per second in exactly 5 seconds. When we plot that sprint on our graph, it creates a straight line tilting upwards. The line is completely straight because the car's speed is increasing by the exact same amount every single second. This is what we call constant acceleration. We can calculate the exact rate of that acceleration by measuring the steepness of our line. In maths, we call this steepness the gradient. To find the gradient, we draw a right-angled triangle tucked underneath our line. Next, we divide the height of our triangle by its base. The height is our total change in velocity, 40 meters per second. The base is our total time, 5 seconds. 40 divided by 5 gives us 8. So our acceleration is 8 meters per second squared. This reveals the golden rule of these graphs. The gradient of the line is exactly equal to the acceleration. Anytime you see a straight-angled line, you know the object is experiencing a constant, steady acceleration. Because steepness equals acceleration, a steeper line means the car is getting faster much more quickly. A shallower line means it is speeding up but taking its time. But what happens if our driver suddenly spots a dangerous hazard on the track ahead and then decides to slam his foot onto the brakes? On our graph, the speed drops quickly from a high number back down to 0. That draws a straight line pointing downwards. We call this deceleration or negative acceleration. The math is the same, but the line tilts the other way. Let's look at a more realistic situation. What happens when a driver tries to push a car to its absolute top speed? As a car moves faster and faster, it has to push through the air. Eventually, that wind resistance fights against the engine, making it harder to keep increasing speed. On our graph, the acceleration starts off high, then gradually curves and flattens out as the car reaches its maximum speed. This is changing acceleration. Because steepness equals acceleration, any change in the slope, any curve, tells you that the object's acceleration is actively changing. We can now look at a complete journey plotted on a single speed time graph and read exactly what happened. This first section is a straight line sloping upward. We know that represents a car moving with a constant acceleration. Then the line becomes perfectly flat and horizontal. 0 steepness means 0 acceleration. The car is holding a steady speed. Next, the line slopes upward again, but it curves. A changing slope means the car is experiencing changing acceleration. Finally, the line angles straight towards 0. The car is hitting the brakes, which results in a constant deceleration until it stops. Every slope and flat section on this graph acts as a record of a journey, showing exactly how an object moved through the world. When an object moves at a constant speed, its distance is found by multiplying speed by time. We can visualize this relationship on a graph. Here, we have speed on the vertical y-axis and time on the horizontal x-axis. Since the axes represent the two components of our formula, the total area between the graph line and the time axis represents the total distance traveled. Take a car traveling at a constant 20 meters per second for 5 seconds. The space under the line forms a rectangle. By multiplying the base of 5 seconds by the height of 20 meters per second, we find the distance is 100 meters. This shows that for any object moving at a constant speed, The distance is simply the area of the rectangle formed on the graph. If the speed changes, the shape on the graph changes too. In this case, a car accelerates evenly from 0 to 20 meters per second over 4 seconds. Because the speed is increasing at a constant rate, the area under the line forms a right-angled triangle. To find the distance here, we must use the area of a triangle. That means we don't just multiply the base and height, we have to multiply them by 1/2. 1/2 times a base of 4 seconds times a height of 20 meters per second gives us a total distance of 40 meters. Constant acceleration from rest will always form a triangle, so remember to have the product of time and maximum speed. Now consider an object that is already moving at 20 meters per second, then accelerates to 40 meters per second over 5 seconds. We can solve for the distance by splitting the area into two simpler shapes, a rectangle at the bottom and a triangle on top. Note that the height of the triangle is only the change in speed. Since it started at 20 and ended at 40, the triangle's height is 20 meters per second. The rectangle's area is 100, and the triangle's area is 50. Adding them together gives us a total distance of 150 meters. Try this one. A car decelerates from 30 meters per second to a stop over 6 seconds. Pause the video and calculate the distance now. Since the line reaches the axis, this is a single triangle. 1/2 times 6 times 30 gives a distance of 90 meters. Any irregular motion on a graph can be broken down into these basic rectangles and triangles to find the total distance. We can apply this to a full journey. Here, an object accelerates for 2 seconds, maintains a constant speed for 3 seconds, and then decelerates to a stop in 1 second. To calculate the distance, we separate the graph into 3 zones by dropping vertical lines whenever the motion changes. Finding the area of each section tells us how far the object traveled during that specific part of the trip. Adding all 3 areas together gives the total distance for the entire journey. To summarize, distance is the total area under the speed-time graph. Use the rectangle formula for constant speed and the triangle formula for acceleration. Always ensure your triangle height reflects the change in speed and that your units for speed and time are consistent. By identifying the geometric shapes formed by the graph line, you can determine the exact distance for any type of motion. Keep practicing these concepts and you'll be reading these graphs with ease. Thanks for joining me on